everyone. Welcome to our course. Today, we're going to talk about professionalization of translation and code of conduct for professional translators. Nowadays, we have entered the professional era of translation. Based on the mainstream translation target in each stage, we can divide the translation history of China and the West into 3 periods: religious classic stage, literary classic stage, and practical translation stage. And the last stage is what we called as the professional era of translation, which has obviously substantial differences compared with the previous 2 eras. Let's look at some characteristics of this translation stage. Number 1, the first change, as it is mentioned before, is that the mainstream translation texts have changed. They are mainly practical texts. What's more, with the advent of the digital age, the texts covering various forms of symbols such as text, pictures, songs, images, etc., are also known as hypertext or cybertext, have also become the main text form of current translation. Number 2, major changes have taken place in ways and methods of translation, moving from an individual work to a teamwork. Number 3, for the tools of translation, the Internet and translation software have become indispensable assistants for translators today. Number 4, other factors affecting language conversion during translation, including ideology, ethics, publicity, etc., have entered the vision of our translation researchers. Number 5, the group of people who have doing research in this period have also gradually changing through the time. In order to face the challenges of the professional era of translation, we should conduct research covering many aspects of translation activities, such as the redefinition of translation, the identity of the translator, the reapproval of translation standards, the industry norms, translation market structure and management, etc., and the various new translation objects in the current digital age are beyond the scope of previous research. This is also the biggest challenge posed by translation researchers and translation teachers in the current professional era of translation. After looking at the big picture and environment of our translation industry, let's look at the Professional Code of Ethics and Code of Conduct for Translators issued by Translation Association of China. The establishment of translators' professional ethics and behavioral norms is not only an important symbol of the professionalization of translation. Their implementation will also further promote the process of professionalization. In this section, we will focus on translators' professional ethics code and behavior norms. The Code of Professional Ethics for Translator established the basic 9 principles that translators should follow when engaging in translation activities. Let's look at them one by one. Number 1 is correct attitude. In other words, translators should uphold professionalism abided by professional ethics, be honest and trustworthy, be responsible for translation quality, and consciously maintain the reputation and dignity of translation profession. The second one is competence, which means that the translator should have professional translation skills and only engage in work that they are capable of. When accepting translation tasks, it should be ensured that all reasonable requirements as agreed in the contract can be met. Moving on to the third principle, faithful interpretation. Translators should accurately understand and faithfully interpret the source language information, and it is not advisable to make modifications, additions, deletions, etc., according to their own wishes or opinions. Number 4 is neutrality. Translators should uphold a fair and justice attitude, respect the rights and interests of all parties, and safeguard the dignity of all parties. The next one is confidentiality. Regardless of whether a confidentiality agreement is signed with each participant in the translation activity, the translator shall strictly abide by the principle of confidentiality. Without permission, the relevant information or materials conducted by translation work should be disclosed. Number 6 is compliance with contract. The translator should fully understand the content of the contract and abide by the contract. When there is a situation that is inconsistent with the terms of the contract, should take the initiative to communicate and negotiate with the relevant parties and shouldn't break the contract without authorization. Number 7 is cooperation. It is advisable for translators to cooperate and assist each other, compete fairly, and jointly improve the level of practice. The translator and the client should respect each other, communicate, and cooperate. Number 8 is proper use of technology. Translators should use translation technology appropriately to improve translation efficiency and ensure translation quality. The last principle is self-improvement. Translators should continue to improve their professional abilities, pay attention to industry development and the latest achievement in the field of translation, develop the habit of lifelong learning, and continuously improve their professional ethics. Besides the 9 basic principles of professional ethics for translators, there are also codes of conduct to regulate the specific and practical behaviors of professional translators. It has been classified into 4 categories, including the basic code of conduct and the code of conduct before translation, the code of conduct during translation, and the code of conduct after translation. We will not elaborate them here, and you can read the documents after the class. Well, that is all for today's class. Thank you, and see you next time.